I need to thank our partners and collaborators in this venture that we have all enjoyed today. First of all, the Ministry of Finance of Poland, including Director Decker, who really brought all of us together for this event. As I understand, similar ideas were being developed by other partners, and we were planning an event like this, and the Ministry of Finance brought us all together, as well as providing excellent intellectual leadership in the presentations that they made today. As well, we'd like to thank, of course, the Warsaw Stock Exchange for this wonderful venue and for the speakers that they offered us today and their own perspectives. There is no better place to hold an event like this than the Warsaw Stock Exchange for both comfort and symbolic reasons, really. Look at what it represents. I'd also like to thank, of course, Deloitte. Deloitte provided expertise today, and of course Deloitte provided a lot of the background work, of the important legwork and the difficult organizing work that goes behind an event like this. So thanks so much to Deloitte for all of their hard work and their intellectual leadership as well in developing this event. And as you saw today, we had many other great partners who provided their perspectives, their information, their experiences, including the Ministry of Economic Development, the Responsible Business Forum, the National Chamber of Statutory Auditors, and the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, ACA, who are our friends and partners in many events like this, and of course our media partner, Puls Biznesu. I would add, of course, that our donor, whom you heard from today, the Swiss Contribution, who has provided funding and leadership throughout the number of years that the WorldBank has been engaged with Poland in the process of reforming corporate financial reporting. We're very grateful to the Swiss contribution. Just briefly, I heard really four big messages today. All of the work that went into this event, none of which was mine, was a great benefit to me. I learned a lot from it. But I heard really four big messages today, and perhaps they're similar to what you heard loud and clear today. One is that there may be a bit of an artificial distinction between financial information and non-financial information. Accounting textbooks will typically say, when they're describing the purpose of financial accounting, they'll say its purpose is to provide useful information to decision makers to help them assess the amount, the timing, and the certainty of future cash flows. I think we've all seen definitions like that in textbooks or similar formats. So really, financial accounting is meant to help decision makers assess what future cash flows are likely to be and when they're going to happen, how sure we can be about them. Well, of course, the non-financial information that we've been hearing about all day today, that's just as critical to decision makers to assess those future cash flows, their certainty, their timing, and their amounts. And so really, there is no way to talk about financial and non-financial information as somehow distinct, entirely distinct in the purposes they'll be used. They really all help contribute to the picture that decision makers need. The other thing that we heard several times in very colorful and persuasive ways is that non-financial reporting is intimately connected with management and operations. Reporting is not reporting for reporting's sake. It is something that is connected with the good risk management of a company and the value creation of a company. So reporting is really just all part of that process that good companies use to make sure that they're managing their risks, that they're creating value, that they're building great relationships with all their key stakeholders, including their community. Finally, I would add that all of these benefits that businesses may receive are very important. But of course, non-financial reporting is not, companies are not being asked only voluntarily to do this. This is being imposed by the law. It's being imposed by regulation. And companies are rightly skeptical often of regulations. Regulations impose costs. Companies worry about whether decision makers, policy makers really weigh the benefits and costs before they impose requirements like this on all businesses. So it may be worthwhile to step back, and I think this is implicit in a number of remarks today, and think about whether or not it makes sense to impose this by the law, by regulation, rather than just voluntarily allowing companies to do this. And I would suggest implicit in many of the comments today is that it does make sense to impose this by law, at least for large companies. And the reason is that large companies rely on the law and on policymakers to create a fair environment of competition. And the law, by imposing these requirements for non-financial reporting by law, you help promote productive competition rather than destructive competition. We don't want companies competing with each other on who's willing to have the least respect for the environment. We don't want companies competing with each other on who's willing to treat their workers the worst. We want companies competing with each other on how well they can create value, how well they can reduce legitimate costs, how much social value they can create. And this non-financial reporting, as required by law, is really all part of the process of creating a fair environment for healthy competition that helps create real value in the economy. And then finally, the last big message that I really saw and heard today was leadership from Poland. And some of the facts and statistics that I heard on that were unknown to me, but not surprising to me. Poland has shown leadership in many ways. The creation of the Warsaw Stock Exchange, now the regional leader in equity markets. The Warsaw Stock Exchange developing its Respect Index. That is another great way of showing leadership. And we heard from the intellectual leaders as well as the business leaders in Poland today about their commitment to this process. And it's very impressive. It shows regional leadership, it shows world leadership, and it's the reason, one of the many reasons why Poland is a great place to do business and has a great future ahead of it. So I very much enjoyed hearing all of this today. I've learned a great deal from it, but finally, of course, we need to thank you, the participants. Your interest and your commitment in this area is yet another sign of Poland's leadership in this very important area. So thank you very much.